Going inside our code here, as of right now, delay for 1 seconds is the static part. Once we have a silence threshold, it will be dynamic. Depending on what slider you will point it at, you will have as long as 1 or 5 seconds or more, depending on how we're gonna program this. Also, we're gonna modify this noise to have a dynamic data too for future purposes modification. So let's implement this now. So here in our UI, we're gonna go to the part of our UI and add a threshold. Threshold double bar. Call this value. Make this 1. Inside our UI, we're gonna add threshold label. And then for our slider, so up from 0.3 to, let's call this 5. And we're gonna have a threshold value and call for our label. Let's have that slider to have pad5. Then for our UI function, I'm gonna call update threshold, the threshold label. This accepts a value and we're gonna modify our threshold that label. Configure. We're gonna have a text and this will have an f string silence threshold and this gonna accept 1. So this will have a value and it will be in second, but this must be inside a typecasting of float and that floated value will be in 1f. Then we need a way to the silence threshold value. So below our progress, we're gonna get our threshold value by, I'm gonna call this silence threshold value. We're gonna call this threshold that value and we need to make this as float. So get the value of slider before thread starts. Then we're gonna put that silence threshold also to our pipeline so that it will be passed on to our backend. I'm gonna put this below. Okay, need this as comma. Now, since we are calling our backend pipeline, we're gonna go back to that and pass it here. Our silence threshold. Just in case there's no value that was declared, we're gonna declare this default as 1.0. Yeah, silence threshold is 1.0 according to our detect silence 1. Okay, so since we had declared it to our run pipeline, we're gonna need to pass this on to our detect silence, which becomes the dynamic. So silence threshold and to our, just in case we declare the value as 1.0 by default, we can't directly pass it on like this. We must put it inside a variable so that we can call it as formatted string. Let's declare that formatted string, filter arg, then f string. If I'm doing this right, becomes like this. Okay, silence detect noise. We need some way to hold the noise too. In any case, noise will becoming a function too in the future. We're gonna make this 32 decibels noise. We're gonna call that noise. Let's try running. Right now we have silent. Let's do 1.9. Open. Maybe 1.5 will do. Open 6. Let's go. Open output folder. What if we make this longer? 3 seconds. What if 1? Okay. Hello. Right now we're going to improve our UX, our user. Let's go.